Before going to the video, we would like to discuss about Cashcore app. We do online shopping in Amazon, Flipkart and other e-shopping sites. If you try to access these platforms using Cashcore app, we get additional benefits like 5 to 20% of cashback or rewards. When the return period is over, it will be credited to your Cashcore account, which can be converted to coupons or can be transferred to your bank account. People using this end up saving up to 30,000 per annum on their regular shopping. So link has been provided in the description. Please download the app and enjoy the additional benefits. Hi guys, in this video we will discuss the difference between MRF, sliding mesh and dynamic mesh. So these three are used for rotational bodies in any of the tools like ANSYS Fluent or Simplest or any CFD tools. So first we'll discuss about the MRF. So you can see a center star type object is rotating, on which we have given a MRF, or we have created a domain which is moving reference frame with respect to moving reference frame, and there is a stationary zone. So if in the case of any MRF consideration, moving reference frame zone, we need to create a domain such that it encloses the part which is need to be rotated, such that it should enclose the part which need to be rotated, and it should be of this type, a circular one, and a stationary zone just above it or just beside that a stationary zone. So now we can give the motion to the entire domain. If you can see, this is the entire domain onto which you need to give the motion. So this you will be giving in ANSYS Fluent using a frame motion option. So you just go to the frame motion and click on the frame motion. You can give the speed in radians per second or in RPM. So when you are giving the speed in radians per second or RPM, so it tries to calculate this omega into R. So R is the distance from the center of origin to the any point in the moving reference frame zone or the moving domain. So R is the distance between the center to the any of the points in the moving reference frame zone, and the velocity with respect to that omega is R into omega. So in general, what is the velocity we are calculating is V, from which we need to subtract this R into omega if it is in anti-clock direction or it plus in clockwise direction. So we need to add if it is in anti-clock, or we will subtract if it is in clock, depending on the motion of the frame or motion of this zone. So this is the V which we actually solved it for Navier-Stokes equation. This you can see, this is the Navier-Stokes equation, and the above is the energy equation, and the above is continuity equation. So continuity, energy and Navier-Stokes equation. So in all these three equations, instead of having velocity V, we will try to incorporate V minus VR, where VR is the R bar into omega bar. So that is the extra amount of velocity that would be embedded onto the frame due to the motion of the zone. So on the right hand side top you can see, so this is the CFD domain, and this is the axis of rotation about which the domain is rotating. So then R bar is this one into omega, which is the angular velocity about which it is CFD domain is rotating. So here the axis is in center of the domain itself. So R bar and omega are not nothing but the product from the center of this axis of rotation. So mainly in the frame motion or in the MRF, we will consider only that zone motion with respect to the center of the axis of rotation. But in actual sense, this star mark or this object will not rotate. So it is only our assumption that it is tend to rotate, and the angular velocities that will come out of that omega into R, that is the radius of from the center of axis of rotation, would be imported onto the domain, and that would be given to the VR, and that VR component would be added to the three equations. That's it. So but there is no actual motion, right? In clear cut we can see the videos at the last of the video, so the last of this tutorial, don't worry. So now this is the extra amount of wall consideration we need to consider while you're going for the boundary conditions. So before we have considered the cell zone condition where we have given the motion to this zone, but in the wall conditions or the boundary conditions, you will consider this star mark as wall, right? So in that wall we need to highlight as a moving wall, and we need to give speed RPM as 0. So what does it mean? It actually means that this is at rest, or the entire moving wall, or the wall which is at the center is relative to this moving frame zone has a 0 RPM. It means that everything with respect to the center of axis of rotation are rotating with the same angular velocity. So even though we are not considering this moving wall any RPM, but with respect to moving reference frame zone, MRF. So this entire is moving with a velocity v. So we can see related to adjacent cell zone. Adjacent cell zone is this moving frame and it has some angular velocity. So related to adjacent cell zone, this wall doesn't have any RPM. It means that the wall itself is moving with the same velocity as moving reference frame zone. So this is one condition which we need to give for wall in MRF or even sliding mesh also. So now we'll go for a sliding mesh. Sliding mesh is nothing but two interfaces or two objects would have a slide option, or the mesh would slide on the other mesh. So here initially we have considered in the MRF that this would be at a rest position, but here this would also move. So there is a stationary zone, there is a moving zone. This moving zone which slides over the stationary zone. Here the angular velocity into R is constant at different points, but here the angular velocity into R is not constant because this is rotating. Initially the point is here, so it has some R into omega. When this blade comes here, so there is no R into omega at that point, there is R into omega at this point. So R into omega is continuously varying because the motion or the zone itself is sliding. So this is much more accurate compared to the MRF. But sliding mesh would take a huge amount of time with respect to transient conditions because it need to move, and this moving conditions you can give in the transient zone only or transient type only. So it takes much more amount of time compared to the MRF. So in this condition also, if you go for a boundary of these walls, we need to give relative to adjacent cell zone as 0. It does mean that so the entire bodies or the entire walls were also moving with respect to same motion or same angular velocity which you have given for this zone. So here for sliding mesh we need to go for mesh option, mesh zone option or mesh motion option in cell zone conditions of ANSYS fluent. So in MRF we have went for frame condition, and in sliding mesh you'll go for mesh motion conditions. And now here is the last one, dynamic mesh. So it doesn't assume anything, it doesn't think about anything, it actually moves with respect to the mesh deforms. So in dynamic mesh there are three options like smoothing methods, dynamic layering method and local remeshing method. See here, if you can see smoothing method, so when you try to apply any force or when you try to push this domain, the mesh is getting deformed. So in this smoothing technique there are so many other techniques, it is out of scope of this video, but anyways you can just look into the tutorials or ANSYS Fluent user manual, you can understand more in deep. So this actually the mesh is getting deformed, right? So when mesh is getting deformed, it has an option or it has an this one that the mesh gets skewness, or it would be aspect ratio or orthogonal quality gets deformed, or it must be detroited. So when it is detroiting, it need to remesh again, or it need to turn into other small objects or other small cells in order to have that problem overcome, like skewness. So if you can see here, this is local remeshing. So when I am trying to reduce this size, you can see here it is automatically remeshing. So the bigger elements are now turning into two smaller elements to keep up the aspect ratio, skewness and orthogonal quality. So this is a case for tetrahedron mesh. So if you want to go for a hexahedron mesh, then you can have the option of dynamic layering. So in the dynamic layering, it is mainly meant for hexahedral or quadrilateral type of elements in 2D and hexahedral for 3D. So the moving boundary or the zone is getting moved. So with respect to height, if a particular height is reached, if the height is less than 0.3, so if we automatically software would trigger that it need to get remeshed. Right, so that option you need to give, and that values you need to mention in the block of when you activate the dynamic layering technique. So there are two types, one is ratio based, another is height based. Ratio based is means the height is to width ratio. So when this ratio is less than some value, it automatically remeshes, so that you need to mention. Or it's on height based, if it reduces height to particular level, then automatically it need to remesh. So in these cases the mesh is getting deformed and it is getting remeshed in order to equip the skewness and other problems. So but whereas in the sliding mesh dynamic MRF, no, the mesh is not getting deformed, it is just in sliding it is sliding. In MRF it is an assumption that it has R into omega at each and every point, but this doesn't actually rotate. Here it actually rotates, so r into omega at different points varies. So in both the cases, these are the equations which get solved for MRF as well as sliding mesh. Now we'll just see the videos of transient simulation.